Anyway, now I'm recording. So, yeah.
Man, they're not going to hear how to bring about the collapse of. Damn it. Why did I go through all that, dude? And now they're never going to hear it.
That's all right. You'll still know all the things that you know.
Yeah, but now they don't know them. So what the fuck am I supposed to do with that?
We can go through it again if you like to repeat yourself.
No, there's some news I guess we got to talk about today or something. So let's just do that.
There is some news. Yeah, I apologize for my audio issues. You guys still hear them because I don't know what's going on. I just get crackling in my mic. I switched OBS softwares and that didn't fix it. I switched interfaces. I switched mic cables. I switched the USB that goes from the interface to the computer. I switched ports on my computer. I switched literally everything and nothing changed. I tried different mics and there still seems to be crackling. So I'm sorry. I'll fix it one day. But yeah, there was some news. There was something else. I don't remember. Oh, so when I was using the other OBS, I never set up alerts or anything. So now I'm back on Streamlabs, and I see there's alerts that I didn't know about. So about a month ago, we got 2 new followers. So I can play these little here.
Oh, 2. Dose? Damn, dude.
Dose.
The high rise in LA with TikTokers? It's coming.
Yeah. I'm trying to play the alerts, but they're not playing. Oh, they are. Oh, hold on. It's at the bottom. That's why you could hear the scribbling because I put that sound. Okay, here we go. We had Audrey Lee 444 following. Thank you, Audrey Lee. I don't know if you still watch, but that's much appreciated. And we had Tipsy Lil Shadow also follow. There we go. Welcome. Boom. We're doing things.
Yep. Like waves.
Yeah. So thanks, guys. And the only other ones I see are Mookie and you from a year ago.
Don't worry, they're coming. The mansion, everything.
Everything.
The promised land, right?
Yeah.
It's coming.
But yeah, that's pretty cool. So apparently there's some news.
Yeah, going on with Snyder.
Yeah, I mean I'll speed run the quick other bits of news. I mean there's only like 2. One is Madam Web, Sony's Spider-Man spinoff got moved from summer 2023 to fall 2023 release. Nobody gives a fuck. Lightyear will be on Disney Plus August 3rd for anybody who's interested in that.
Yeah, I haven't seen it yet, so that's probably where I'm gonna be watching it now.
Yeah, and Blue Beetle has wrapped filming.
Like a live action DC?
Yeah.
Blue Beetle?
Yep. So I don't really see or sharing this article. So I don't think Streamlabs has updated any of their bullshit program. So you still can't easily trim things. Obviously. How do I want? I don't know. Anyway, I don't actually care that much about sharing this. I'll move us. Add window capture. It's trying to double capture me, okay?
Double cap.
Oh my goodness. This is why I prefer the other OBS. Because this one sucks.
No worries. We gotta get through the fire and the flames.
Yeah. They say. Yes, I will see you through this thing. Okay, anyway. Keep the fate fans out there. Probably not. Okay. Me. Okay. Cool. Uh, boom. Okay. Hopefully that doesn't look. So yeah, there's a new report that's detailing Justice League director Zack Snyder's conflict with Warner Brothers. So this has come about following reports that a lot, I can't say a lot, but a fair amount of the what do you call it? A fair amount of the people responsible for the Restore the Snyderverse thing, that movement, were bots. uh,
Yeah.
which is something I thought we all pretty much knew already.
Yeah, I think social media and bots have a real problem. Like honestly, like at its core, like I think Twitter tried to pass it off. I remember something that they disclosed that they concluded only like 5% of their user base was just like was only bots, and the problem wasn't that bad. But I think honestly, it's probably a close thing. I think probably 1 out of every 4 users on Twitter is probably a bot. That's kind of why I quit. Like it's atrocious now. I don't know. I'm just not very good at sitting in these like nexuses of information without getting stressed out, I guess.
Yeah, I mean you're actually not far off.
I think that's why they're trying to get Mr. Musk, trying to get him to fucking buy Twitter so bad, is because they know it's all bots and they're just waiting for it to all come out.
Well,
Because all the bot reporting has been conducted by internal auditors, and of course they're gonna fucking lie. Like, how can anyone trust an internal audit conducted by themselves? It's like you don't have your like when we go to school, you don't have your paper isn't graded by yourself. They don't just accept that grade. You get like if you flunk a test, you can't tell. Oh, this is 100. I don't need to show you the test either. I know I passed it. And they're like, okay, no, that's not how it works, and it's dumb. Sorry, ranting, but it is very dumb.
make us
Everybody else, yep.
but yeah, so
Might be tuned in to ourselves.
yeah, so it was actually Rolling Stone that did like this extensive piece, and I was gonna read that article, but apparently you have to pay, and I'm not paying to read Rolling Stone or subscribing to
Yeah.
any modern day journal because I think that's stupid.
Yep.
But yeah, so there's a damn. Okay, so yeah. So Zack Snyder's Justice League is available on digital today. While the director's cut premiered on HBO Max last year, the saga of Snyder's conflict with Warner Brothers has just added another chapter. Rolling Stone has published an extensive story about the deterioration of the relationship between the director and the studio, but the headline alone contends that the Snyder Cut movement was driven by fake accounts, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. First of all, I want to say that my biggest issue with all of this is that it seems like people are going to pick sides already between Snyder and WB. Actually, I'll get to this later because it kind of rolls up with everything else. But pretty much my point is both are bad. So the Rolling Stone report indicates that Warner Brothers opened up 2 investigations. Sorry, you guys. Pictures over. Anyway, opened up 2 investigations into Snyder's digital following and concluded that 13%, so about 1 in 8, you said 1 in 4, so about half of that, 1 in 8 of the accounts were fake.
No, I think on Twitter, like in general,
yeah.
that 1 of every 4. Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me that. I don't know, man. It's not that hard to set up a bot swarm.
Yeah.
Like you can, like if you go, it's so weird. Like if you go to India or if you go to Russia, you'll literally find places like they have kiosks where you can pay money to have your social media account just boosted by bots. Like there, you can just
Right.
walk. It's crazy. Like it's how kind of how social media works. And there are even some instances I think where I can't remember if this is true, but I remember reading a story one time that Nike was paying to have bots follow the Nike Instagram account to like boost their own
That's not
popularity.
surprising.
To me, it's so surprising because it's just so strange. Because why would you try to put the idea of social media is that you're putting your product out there, and I don't know, man. Like, why would you want to put your product in front of people that you know are never going to buy it?
Well, that's the
Seems
thing
like
about Twitter, though, in general, is like Twitter, the user base of Twitter is like celebrities and politicians, and then like a bunch of weirdos.
as
Like,
a journalist,
yeah, like just like there's always been less users on Twitter than other social medias, and even then, like less than like 8% or something of the U.S. population is on Twitter, which people need to realize that Twitter is not real life.
yeah.
And like the number of account, like you said, like even the number of those accounts are most of them, or us, not most of them, I can't say, but like a percentage of them are bots.
Yeah.
Um, So yeah, they're saying about 13% of the accounts were fake. To be sure, there are definitely genuine Snyder fans, and 13% is far from the majority. But the report does add that the movement was amplified by a disproportionate number of bogus accounts. Um, I don't know where they get that, like where that conclusion is drawn from. Like I said, I'm not going to read the actual article because I'm not paying to read it.
Yeah.
But 13% doesn't seem disproportionate to me. It seems like a small but still significant number, right? Um,
One out of every 10 comments, one out of every 10 likes.
yeah,
You just got to go down the list and count them.
yep,
And you'd be surprised how many pull ups. Like, oh, that person's a bot. Well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, that person's a bot.
yeah,
It's crazy. It's like I'm getting off most social media except for Instagram because Instagram's like the only one I know that real people like use every day because I think it's fun.
yep.
Um,
The report also contends that Snyder coordinated with his followers to pressure Warner Brothers to bow to his wishes. Uh, that's kind of a big
it's
accusation.
yeah,
And like I said, because I'm not paying to read the article, I don't know where they draw that conclusion from. I did read secondarily that they talked to, like, the article, the reporter talked with Zack Snyder, and so like because someone had said on Twitter like, oh, like couldn't he sue for like defamation or something, and someone else replied and said, well, no, because they asked him and got his thoughts, and like they weren't outright saying these things, they were just whatever, like, so. But anyway, for example, when the studio didn't move fast enough to drop Jeff John and John Berg's credits from the director's cut, Snyder allegedly said he would destroy them on social media. Okay. Perhaps the most explosive accusation in the report is that Warner Brothers believes that Snyder and Cyborg actor Ray Fisher were coordinating with each other based on Fisher's tweets coming directly on the heels of Snyder's behind-the-scenes demands. Fisher made many headlines last year when he publicly accused Joss Whedon of misconduct during the Justice League reshoots. Again, like this is an issue to me where this is something I think that a lot of people do. Like journalists should not do this, but a lot of us as individuals do because we love to wear our jerseys and pick our sides and whatever. So what happens is you come up with an idea, which is really your conclusion, and then you
mm,
search for facts or evidence to support your conclusion instead of the other way around. You don't follow the evidence to a conclusion. What these people are doing, what it sounds like this journalist is doing, is she has a conclusion and she's just literally putting it out there and then trying to find evidence to support that,
yeah.
right? Which to me is an issue. Like again, people do this all the time with their religious belief. No, sorry, not religious. Sorry, that I mean political. I mean political. People do.
Political. Sometimes that can be one and the same.
Yeah, but it's like they 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 want to believe what their party believes, and so they believe. They take every piece of evidence that supports that, and then disregard everything else that counters it, right? And the reason for that is because you have to pick a side, right? We can't just acknowledge that issues are complicated and belief systems are complicated, and people are not simple robots who just exist to support people who don't actually give a shit about them. Much easier to just pick your side and ignore everything that goes against.
Yeah.
All right.
And
So
honestly, like this is just the continuation of dumbass, dumb shit, doody, blah, 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 dumb high school bullshit out of WB that we've been used to. The reason the DC again, which is something you and I both believe that if they got it right, they'd probably be more successful than Marvel. Because again, when before Iron Man came out, like you said 100 times, like who did people care about? It was Batman, it was Superman, it was like Wonder Woman, and Marvel got its success to mainstream popularity. Now everybody knows who Captain America is, and the thing is, like everybody knew who Batman was before Batman was even on the big screen. Well, at least a lot of people did, and it's depressing because they're sitting on a gold mine and they're not doing anything with it, and it really fucking sucks. That's what it comes down to at the end of the day. They
yep.
really could make you can make a shitload of money. You can make some great movies. You could do your own shows, and they're just not doing that because of dumb old school ways of running these studios that just hurt everybody, including the fans. So
Yep.
yeah, that's my 2 cents rapidly fired out of my mouth.
Yeah. So the article goes on to say Snyder responded directly to Rolling Stone and called the allegation totally untrue. Fisher did not respond in the story itself, but he has replied on his Twitter account. So Ray Fisher tweeted at Rolling Stone and at Tatiana Siegel, who is the journalist. He said Rolling Stone and Tatiana Siegel need to amend this article immediately. Neither myself nor anyone on my team ever, quote unquote, declined to comment to Rolling Stone. Furthermore, this is the type of rumor mill reporting. This type of rumor mill reporting is offensive, dangerous, and willfully evasive. A fact, and then he puts his A over E, which means accountability over entertainment. And so every comment to him responding to this, either where's your accountability over entertainment when it comes to Ezra Miller and Amber Heard, which she has not commented on those things.
That's not even a different thing though. Ezra Miller's like doing cocaine and getting in fist fights with literally every living human being in Hawaii, and then kidnapping children from Hawaii to go to like some weird ranch outside of LA, like fucking.
Yeah. And then
What's that guy's name?
the other
Charlie
comments are saying that Rolling Stone is a joke and they didn't do the research and blah blah blah. Anyway, so he does link this screen shot from the article where it says, meanwhile, the Snyder controversy has begun spinning in new directions. Fisher, an actor who Snyder had plucked from obscurity to play Cyborg in Snyder's Batman vs. Superman Dawn of Justice, started speaking out against Whedon, the director who'd been hired to replace Snyder on Justice League back in 2017. Quote, Joss Whedon's on-set treatment of the cast and crew of Justice League was gross, abusive, unprofessional, and completely unacceptable, Fisher tweeted. He added bringing Snyder's alleged threat regarding his one-time colleagues to fruition 5 days after Snyder made his final push to have the pair removed. Quote, he was enabled in many ways by Jeff Johns and John Berg. Unquote. Nearly all the insiders interviewed by Rolling Stone say they believe Fisher and Snyder were working in tandem based on Fisher's tweets coming directly on the heels of Snyder's behind-the-scenes demands. Snyder calls the allegation totally untrue. Fisher declined to comment to Rolling Stone. So when they say that, what happened was my man's who works for Rolling Stone, find him.
Track him down.
Yeah. So in response to that tweet, this guy Noah Schachtman said, here's one of several emails Rolling Stone sent to your reps, replying to Ezra Miller, or not Ezra Miller, sorry, top of mind, Ray Fisher. And it just says, hey, you know, we're doing this thing, we're doing this article. So he says, so there was one email 2 days ago where it says, you know, hey, we're writing this story. We want to examine the authenticity of the Snyder Cut fan movement, how the fan base attacked viciously at times a number of people, including Walter Hamada, Jeff Johns, John Berg, Ann Sarnoff, Joanna Fuentes, Diana Nilsson, Toby Emmerich, Joss Whedon, Adam Wingard, James Gunn. I would like to request a comment from Ray on the following. Sources say they believe that you worked in tandem with Zack Snyder to weaponize the Snyder Cut fandom, and they say they did so to help him get what he wanted from Warner Brothers. How do you respond? And so then they tried to follow up again yesterday, and people are saying this is unprofessional still because you're only given like a couple of days to comment and blah blah blah. You probably didn't even see it. Well, apparently Ray Fisher definitely did see it, and he says, "Nice try, but you cropped out the part of those emails where Tatiana switched deadlines on my team. The deadline literally shifted from 6 p.m. to 5 p.m., so an hour. And I'm sorry, but he was never going to make a comment in that hour.
Yeah.
So all of this is irrelevant, and neither of you are gotcha-ing anybody. Like, you guys are all just being children about this.
That's
Here's
the
the
thing
thing.
about like Hollywood. It's just so child. Sometimes it can just be so childish, and it sucks because there's really good creative things in writing and a whole league of other things that are just caught up in this dumb hurricane of high school drama bullshit.
Right.
It's
And
just
and
the
here's
ultimate evolution of theater kids. They're in Hollywood.
and the thing is, right, like he can't say here uh neither myself nor anyone on my team ever declined to comment to Rolling Stone when they have proof they sent you emails and you didn't respond. Like, you're responding now on Twitter saying you guys changed the deadline from 6 p.m. to 5 p.m. Yeah, okay, that's not that big of a difference, and you weren't going to respond, so that is literally the definition of declining to comment.
Yeah.
And again, I don't give a shit about Rolling Stone. I don't give a shit about Ray Fisher. All of this is to say, none of this matters.
Yeah, it's not going to get any new better DC films out of Warner Brothers. It's not going to make Warner Brothers be a better studio.
Well, and it's
Um,
also this article isn't gonna make Snyder fans turn against him, and it's not gonna make people who are against Snyder like more against him. Or, like, it's not gonna do anything. That's the
yeah,
point. But they
it's just going to
continue.
drive people further into their camps at the worst case scenario. Actually,
Yeah,
like,
yeah. Additionally, the report notes that one of the reasons Warner Brothers was skeptical about the legitimacy of the Snyder Cut movement was because of pricey publicity stunts like the ad in Times Square and the plane that flew over Comic Con with a Snyder Cut banner. The implication appears to be that Snyder bankrolled those events himself, but the report doesn't directly accuse the director of that. I saw people on
yeah,
Twitter saying, like, there's proof of like Kickstarters for these things and fundraising events. I don't know the truth of it. Again, it's all to me bullshit. I don't really
and
care.
also more importantly, like fans do stupid shit all the time. Fans are the reason that George Lucas gave up Star Wars. It wouldn't surprise me that fans would do these shitty, awful things independent of what Zack Snyder actually wants them to do.
Right? And it's not like there aren't rich people who are fans of things.
Exactly.
Uh,
Like they're the people that buy like that super expensive merchandise at Disneyland. They just go into the gift shop and it looks like they don't have a fucking care in the world when they put everything with it. When you're like, okay, what three things can I fucking buy? I can fucking afford. I can get
yeah.
this notebook. I can get this backpack, and maybe I can get a T-shirt.
I remember like going to Disneyland with because my grandparents had paid for us to go, like when it was like Disneyland's 50th anniversary, and that was like the summer. Came here to California for vacation when we different state, and and we went, and my mom said you have a $30 like limit. That's all you can get.
You're fucking like a pencil pack.
I think I got like a small stuffed toy. That was like 11 or
There you go. Like a little. Oh, they probably that wasn't even probably a Star Wars shit because they didn't have any Star Wars stuff back then. So it's
They
probably like,
did at like where the Star Tours ride is.
oh,
Uh,
that's right. Now I remember.
but no, it wasn't. I don't remember what it was.
Still can't
Um,
believe they got rid of the Galactic Cafe.
so they say the key takeaway from the story is that there appears to be a lot of bad blood towards Snyder from within the studio. In turn, Snyder offered this response to Rolling Stone. As an artist, it was fulfilling to be able to finally see my vision realized after such a difficult time in my life, and for it to be so well received. I am grateful to both the fan community and Warner Brothers for allowing this to happen. Dwell on negativity and rumors serves no one. If this is indeed a balanced article, I hope that all the good work, charitable contribution fandom has done is being represented. It says you can read the full story here, but that's a lie. You have to pay. Um, yeah, and then you guys think blah blah blah. Oh, I can read the comments if you guys want cancer. Um,
One.
Okay. But before I do that, what I really want to say about all that, um, all this is gonna do is vindicate people who already took their side, right? So it's gonna vindicate Snyder fans, and they're gonna be like, everybody was always out to get us, and proof. It's gonna vindicate Warner Brothers fans. They, yeah, like bots, and nobody actually wants blah blah blah. And the rest of us who have a brain are gonna say, I don't like Warner Brothers because since they've been trying to build their version of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Man of Steel came out. They've been a dysfunctional company who has no fucking clue what they're doing with the properties. And also, I don't really care for Man of Steel very much. BVS is one of the worst movies I've ever seen in my entire life. And his Justice League movie, his cut of it was fine. It like thing that like I think people get confused is because it was so much better than the theatrical version. They think it was actually a great film. It was a good film, nothing special, nothing amazing. It needed 4 hours and like $100 million to be finished. Like it was a fine film, but it wasn't the best thing that ever happened. And so I'm not on his side, and I'm not on Warner Brothers' side. I want good, capable people in charge of the properties that I enjoy. It's the same thing that happened with the sequel trilogy fails because the wrong people were in charge of it, and the Mandalorian and shows like that succeed because the right people are in charge of it. And this is what will continue to happen. Warner Brothers gets credit when they hire the right people for projects, as they should. And they should be, people should criticize them when they choose the wrong people for projects. And the overwhelming majority of DC fans believe that Snyder is the wrong person. Yes, you will have people because taste is like different things. That's okay. But for a company who wants to make the most money possible, which is the entire purpose of a company, they need to go in a different direction.
Yeah. And the thing about Warner Brothers is that they're so like parked in their own austerity that I don't think they'll ever see personal flaw. And I think these properties will probably be wrapped up in Warner Brothers' dumb spiel forever until they declare bankruptcy. And then, maybe it'll go over to fucking Disney and it'll be worse. It'll be horrible. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll just have to wait and see what happens. All I hope is that DC eventually gets the movies that it deserves. That I remember watching as a kid, all the cartoons, Justice League Unlimited, all the straight to home DVD movies that were actually really good. It sucks and it makes me feel like shit. And we saw what DC movies can be when we got a movie this year called The Batman, and it was like actually pretty good. Like
which people like, I still see people like people who are both Marvel and DC fans saying it's the best comic book movie of the year. So, like, even after Doctor Strange and Thor and whatever else Marvel's been doing, people still believe that the Batman is the best of them.
Yeah, and it's they're making a second one and they're making a series about the Penguin. I don't know why they got to do that, but we're getting so.
All right, comment time.
Boy,
This guy says, yeah, if Snyder can be proven to have had a hand in this crap, I sincerely hope he ends up ostracized and destitute. I'd love to see him scraping restaurant dumpsters because he can't get any other work. Snyderverse was and is garbage, driven entirely by the egotistic idiocy of a walking bag of. Okay, this guy is on mental illness. This is parasocial relationship. Okay, it's not that deep. Okay, it's not that deep. Stargazer said, and with words like that, you don't seem to have a clue about general decency at all, regardless of personal feelings and opinions, whether you detest the man. Oh, no, that their response. Yeah, no. Arguing in comment section, degeneracy at its. See, we're not actually commenting in the comment section. We're just reading for content, so we're not degenerate like. This guy says, I've made my feelings abundantly clear about the Snyderverse. He says, just to remind everybody, I'm not a fan. I'll go on record as saying I actually prefer Batman and Robin overall to Batman vs Superman. I don't see any. That said, I have little doubt that the overwhelming majority of Snyderverse fans I've interacted with are real people and not bots. Well, yeah, that's literally what the article says. 13%. Yes, overwhelming majority are gonna be actual people.
Mm-hmm.
Just for laughs, curious, do you genuinely like Batman and Robin over Batman vs. So, is it out of nostalgia or? Well, I'll answer it for him because I don't care about his response. PVS is flawed in so many ways that it takes me out of the movie completely every like 5 minutes because of inaccuracies and because of hypocrisy within the characters. Batman and Robin isn't a great film, and I didn't watch it as a kid, so nostalgia for me. It's just at least has an internal consideration.
Mm-hmm.
I may be in the minority here, but I didn't care much for either the theatrical release of Justice League nor the Snyder Cut. You're not in the minority, I think. But the thing is, like, here's the thing. Snyder fans say it's like the greatest thing to ever grace the. Everyone else says it was a decent movie.
Yep.
Like, you know, this guy I think is saying he didn't really like it. So that is probably the minority of people. But I don't think there's anybody who's overwhelmingly saying, "Hey, man, this as a neutral viewer, this movie was incredible, best superhero movie of the last year." But if they are, they're just
Yep.
another shamelessly defamatory hit job by WB and its allies. See, this is the thing. This is what I was talking about. We're just vindicating people. If you dislike WB and you love Snyder, hey man, hey, this is just a hit job. And if you're on the other end, you're like, you see, I knew it. I knew Snyder was a bad person. Who has time to pick sides between a billion-dollar company that literally just wants to juice you for money and billionaire movie makers who just want to juice you for?
Yep.
Like, this is the same thing as Democrats and Republicans. Stop wearing your jerseys and saying, dude, I'm a Bernie Sanders. He doesn't give a shit about you. Okay, maybe that's the wrong example. Maybe he's one of the few politicians who actually cares.
Yeah.
But all you Trump, people who, swear Trump is Jesus, and all you, Biden or Hillary supporters thinking that they're going to care about you and he gives a shit about you. Like, that's like, this is something that I heard about politics that stuck with me. Is the issues, right? All these issues are really important. And they're things that like we should care about. But the people who are in office, because they don't care about you. Anyway, that was depressing. Moving on. I'm of two mindsets. People need to stop listening to social media reactions. Far left dominate it and is not accurate market data, as these people don't have money to buy anything. 13% is that of 100K, 200K, 2.5 million? If so, that's really inconsequential. But no, you can't ask the question and then say it's inconsequential. If it's 2.5 million, that is not inconsequential. Like, that's 250,000 people that are bots. Not inconsequential. It was a masterpiece of a film that had the right publicity, proper theater release. The movie would have made $1 billion at the box office. Dude, this guy. Okay, here's the thing I'd like to point out about this guy. First of all, I agree that social media does not represent real life. But can't just say like the far left dominated and they don't have money and then you say 13% is inconsequential. This is something I don't know if you've ever. Let me ask you something. Let me ask you a real question. All right. Don't. I hope this doesn't get us canceled.
All I do is give real answers.
Have you ever had a discussion or a long discussion with a racist?
Probably. I mean, I talk to my dad every day, so yeah.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Well, for anybody who hasn't, if you speak with a racist long enough, they'll bring up people of color in America, and they'll say, and I quote, "There are only 13% of the population who gives a fuck."
Mm.
And so when I see someone say 13% is inconsequential, it just reminds me of people I've spoken to who are racist. 13% of people don't matter.
Yeah, my dad doesn't make any arguments like that. He just talks about how much he hates certain people of color. So, there's that too.
Right.
And, he doesn't really say anything about minority of the population. He just talks about just hate. It's about really bad.
Yeah, and that goes back to probably what I was saying earlier about people who have a conclusion and look for evidence to support it and ignore everything that goes against it. I'm sure your dad brings up like things that stereotypical people do and then find articles or whatever to support that or whatever.
No,
and
he
then,
doesn't do any research. He just kind of shoots off the cuff.
sure, but if he saw something, he'd be like, see, I knew it, right? But then ignore everything else. Right?
Yeah.
Anyway, Rolling Stone is woke apparently. Again, look at this is what I'm saying. Everyone in the comments
They're just
taking
bitching
a
about
side.
Politics. That's
Taking
the
a
thing.
side. The thing is, this is a false choice. Both of these sides are bad.
Yeah.
Snyder and whatever, like his overall vision for DC is not the overall vision that I think the majority of people are interested in. And that's not to say it's bad. It's not my cup of tea. I'm not a fan. But of course, there are some. But like, I think overall, the majority of people are more interested in other things, and that's proven by Snyder's movies, BVS and Man of Steel, not doing nearly as well at the box office as counterparts from Marvel, right? And that shows you in general what people in the areas are looking for in these fandoms. And that's not to say that like every Marvel fan is a DC fan or vice versa, right? There are gonna be but there is a lot of overlap. Okay, comic book fans overlap quite heavily, and of course, there's always been the argument like DC versus DC sucks or Marvel sucks and whatever. But like most people that I interact with who read comic books from multiple publishers, including Image, Valiant, Dark Horse, etc. So I think, and again, this is just my opinion based on what I've seen. Like, I think the majority of people don't really care for Zack Snyder's vision and nobody gives a shit about Warner Bros. Nobody should be on Warner Brothers' side ever because of how dysfunctional they've always been with superhero movies. With trying to, I shouldn't say always, right? The thing is, this is what I said earlier, right? It's about the people they put in charge, right? When Kathleen Kennedy put J.J. Abrams in charge of the Star Wars the sequel trilogy, we ended up with not a great trilogy. But when she put Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni in charge of The Mandalorian, we ended up with an incredibly good Star Wars series. Warner Brothers very rarely puts good people in charge, but when they do, vis-a-vis Denis Villeneuve with Dune, they should be commended for that. When they put the wrong people in charge, when they continuously make bad decisions, everything, like the Flash movie was supposed to come out like 5 years ago. It's had like 37 different directors attached to it, a billion different writers, like 16 rewrite scripts and all. Like, this is dysfunction on the highest level. They had no idea. Warner Brothers has no idea what to do with DC. They have no idea what to do with building a DC universe, and that they've proven that every step of the way. Nobody should be on Warner Brothers' side, but nobody should be on the other side either. There's no sides here. Like, it's a losing argument no matter which side you pick, and all we as fans want, like, because in the end, that's who loses. We lose. We as the fans, we lose. Warner Brothers doesn't give a shit. They're still gonna make money. Zack Snyder doesn't give a shit. He's still gonna make money and still gonna direct films that people are interested in. Neither of them give a shit about you, and you're gonna lose because you're gonna have Warner Brothers making bad movies because they have no idea what they're doing, or you're gonna have Zack Snyder making bad movies because the majority of people don't give a shit about his dark vision for.
Yeah. And we'll never get cool, awesome DC movies we all want, and we'll all be sad forever.
And the thing is, like, there are still gonna be gems within the trash, right? Like, even though Warner Brothers does everything in their power to make sure that their movies are unenjoyable, like their DC movies, like, you still get movies like The Joker, which I argue is only good because DC didn't care about it. Because it wasn't not DC, Warner Brothers, right? It wasn't necessarily a DC movie. Because other than using the name The Joker and putting the DC logo and putting the Waynes in there and calling it Gotham, this movie could literally, like I've said this a million times, be called The Clown and take place in Chicago and have another weird rich family. What's up, CptHotSauce? What's the word, he said. And it could have been the same exact movie and had nothing to do with the Joker, and that's okay. But the movie was successful because Warner Brothers didn't care about it, didn't meddle with it, and let Todd Phillips do whatever he wanted, and he made a good movie. There are, the same. You can argue like Wonder Woman. The first one was good. People really didn't like the second one. I haven't even watched it because I heard it was so bad. Aquaman was fine. Shazam was fine. Like, but again, you still have a bunch of garbage from dysfunction between all these movies. And so that's what the issue is. The issue has never been just like Snyder or whatever. Like, it's just Warner Brothers doesn't know what they're doing. I forgot my point.
I just think when it comes down to the same thing we've harped on before, there are a million reasons to be mad. There are a million reasons to be mad specifically at WB. I'm sure there are a million reasons to be mad at Zack Snyder, even though, to be honest, I don't think I've watched too many Snyder films. So
have you watched like 300, Watchmen?
Yeah, and
Sucker Punch?
Yeah, I didn't watch Sucker Punch, and I didn't want to watch Sucker Punch. I'm good. But I just think that this is just very sad and it's all dumb bullshit, but there doesn't really seem to be any change in direction aside from the Batman. And like you said before, I think it's kind of because WB didn't give a shit, and now that the Batman's becoming their only worthwhile property they have right now in the DC universe, it might become the only property they give a shit about, and then they're going to ruin it from over attention instead of just letting the actors act, letting the writers write, letting the directors direct, letting the SFX guys smoke a bunch of weed and then make a bunch of crazy effects like in a back room somewhere in LA.
It could be the same thing with this Joker sequel too, right? Like, now that they care about it, like, who knows? CptHotSauce, if you hop in this call, just let me. Yeah, that's like ultimately, like, I don't know what it is fans exactly want. Like, what you see on Twitter is just a lot of like people with Zack Snyder fan accounts, and they dedicate their whole life to supporting Zack Snyder, which is fine. Like, there's no problem with that. Like, the problems only come when like you try to dictate to other people how they need to believe and how they need to feel and whatever. Which I hope no one thinks like we're doing that here. Like, you're more than capable of coming to your own conclusions about the things you and I just think it's dumb to like booty shake for WB or to booty shake for Zack Snyder, because neither of them
just want your money, especially Snyder, talking about his vision of this project. And funny thing is that the project is shot in such a dark way that there is no vision because you can't see shit, because you can't just sit on the fucking screen. But it's just I don't know what else to say. I think it's all been said. DC, not DC, oh no, DC and WB. Like WB is going to continue to drop the ball. We're not going to get any good DC stuff. The good DC stuff we do get eventually will probably just be ground into the dirt by WB and their crazy way of doing things.
Well, and
And
it's because it's something we've seen over and over, right? Like, what does what happens to projects that like Warner Brothers think is gonna make them millions of dollars? They all just get run into the ground. Like it's I don't know like a better way to put it because it's like the animated DC stuff is good for the
really
most
good
part, right?
all the time.
Like they're not all gonna be gems, and the Killing Joke was a good example of that. But at the same time, like
Same thing too, though. The thing about the Killing Joke is that there was so much attention on it that WB probably fucked it up in some way.
yeah, I mean Under the Red Hood, Jesus, like probably one of the best animated yeah, Discord, Captain Hall. Yeah, it's one of the best animated like DC properties I've ever seen. I mean, and you look at like Young Justice, Justice League Unlimited, the original Teen Titans, not the um but yeah, it's just like anybody out there like I don't know what to say to people who are like mega ultra Snyder fans. Um, other than like I hope like I'm glad that they got the movie they were that they were fighting for so long. Like like I don't think the release of the Snyder cut is like a bad thing. And I think it only benefited from Warner Brothers not actually caring about it. Um, but also like uh, you know how I would add someone.
You would need to close the call and start like a group. It would be like a group. You would need to.
You have to like do a server.
No, not a server, but you see in the top right how it's at the top right hand corner where it says "Add friends to DM." You click on that, and then it'll close this call and start a new call.
Up.
The Discord screen.
Oh shit. Well, hopefully he answers. Oh no, my email.
House. Redfin, what the fuck?
Hey man,
You
well,
motherfucker.
I mean I ain't gonna be buying a house. I'm calling you, hot sauce. I'm calling you right now. I leaked all my email. Totally personally. Yo.
Hello, friend.
Hello.
Oh,
Going.
oh, it's going good, man.
Wicked insane.
Wicked insane. Insanely wicked.
So welcome
Life
Captain
is
Hot Sauce.
wonderful.
Okay, that was sarcasm. So for anybody watching or listening, not familiar, Captain Hot Sauce and I used to do this little podcast called Nerdy Boys Reviews. There's like 200 plus episodes of that out there on the internet, and we have spoken at length about the dysfunction of Warner Brothers over years. Like we started podcasting 2014, end of 2014, and like no joke, like when we started podcasting, like around 2015 is like when the Flash movie first got announced. and it was supposed to come out like 2 years later. So whatever
Right.
happened with that?
A lot of things happen between here and then. Ezra Miller is, again, attempting to get into a fist fight with every living human being on the island of Hawaii before kidnapping all the children back to his, New Manson ranch.
Yeah.
Right.
Unfortunate.
He has like that. He has like that little man syndrome.
Yeah, I don't even know if it's little man
He's out
syndrome.
to
I
prove.
don't know if it's little man syndrome. I just think he might be fucking crazy.
Yeah, probably.
He has extreme mental illness. But
Yeah, and he's rich, so it means he gets to avoid staying out of the mental health wards. And when he does avoid, he goes instead to this thing called rehab, which is just basically a mental health ward.
yeah.
But you can leave whenever you want, so it's great.
I like it. I like
So
it.
you've been listening to what we've been saying. What are your thoughts, sir?
So I kind of like joined. Like, so we're just like discussing like the dysfunction of DC.
Okay, so
Cause that's what I meant when I said what's the word? Cause your title says huge news.
oh
Huge
yeah.
news.
So Rolling Stone put out an article about essentially the Snyder cuts because they had some evidence based on like investigations showing that like a good proportion of people on Twitter who were like fighting for Snyderverse were bots, like their bot accounts. So they found about 13% of those accounts are bots, which isn't crazy, but 13% is 13%. And they allege that like they didn't outright say it, but like they do say, well, it's possible that like Snyder and Ray Fisher were like working together to like fund these like people to support them and like pay for like the billboard or like the thing in Times Square like for Restore the Snyderverse and the plane that flew over Comic-Con with the flag that says Restore the Snyderverse. Like they're alleging that like, hey, Snyder and Ray Fisher may have been working together to fund these things, and like anytime Snyder said something uh like privately or whatever, like a couple of days later Ray Fisher would tweet about it and then he would go public, and like so there's a bunch of allegations and bullshit, and pretty much I was saying like none of that actually matters because again like the only people that really win are Warner Brothers and Zack Snyder. They just keep making movies and money, and the fans continue to lose because we have the dysfunction of Warner Brothers continuing to make bad movies and bad decisions, and the overwhelming majority of people I don't think actually care about Snyder's vision for the future of DC. Like I think most people are more interested like a new direction or a more cohesive universe, whatever it is. But yeah,
Or literally anything.
literally anything.
Literally anything. Please.
So there's like a couple of like points there. It's like, and that kind of just like how the world works today, anyways.
Yep.
Just like fake, like like stunting pretty much, like like social media influencers and stuff. Like they'll like use like fake money and fake cars to make it like get like a perception into like the public that this is how it is for them, but it's obviously not. And it's pretty much the same concept if you kind of think about it. It's just like is it that surprising that they can't let their work stand on its own merit? It is. I mean, the movies are garbage. I mean, what more can we really fucking say? Because that's just the truth. I mean, they're terrible, and I don't know what this like obsession with like the Snyderverse and like his cuts of like Justice League and all this shit, but it's like it's been years now, and there's still like, oh, but did you watch the Snyder cut? Like it's gonna like somehow make it that much better. I'm just like, it
Right.
didn't though.
And
Like it's still terrible.
that's what I said too. Is like, well, like I don't even think it was terrible, but like we can agree that like well, maybe we can't agree, but like the Snyder cut for me was an okay movie, but it wasn't so significantly better that like I'm like, holy shit, dude, we need to restore the Snyderverse completely. Like it was a fine
No.
movie, but it wasn't great.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. I mean, yeah,
And
I just think they need like an overhaul. I think they need to do like a complete reset from like top to bottom. They need like new producers, new ideas, new directors, new writers, new like actors. Everything needs to be like new. I think, you guys kind of like said it, like we need like new ideas and, a cohesive like universe and, just like interesting storytelling. Because like to me, it's like the shit that they do is not really all that interesting. It's like, you know, it was just like pretty bad, like not cohesive. It's very hard to follow, and it's just like they like pander to like a lot of the fans that think that they know everything, and like they want this like super dark and gritty version, which I don't really understand. Like everyone's like obsession with like wanting to do this like dark version of everything, like as if like making a film like dark and gritty somehow makes it a better film.
Well, and the thing
Like,
is, like,
can anybody like explain this to me? I'm just
Well,
like, I don't understand it.
this has happened a lot in Man of Steel, which is why I fundamentally like think that Man of Steel is probably a worse film than Batman versus Superman. I think Man of Steel is a worse film. It's because it just has this what I just call it Oscar bait. It's like
Yeah.
these slow panning shots, like this deep emotional orchestra. These like characters that don't say much, and what the things they do say, and like their actions are supposed to speak louder than words or whatever, and it ends up being a shitty movie because it's trying to be way too artsy. That was the problem with Man of Steel, was it was trying way too hard to be way too artsy, and it was trying to humanize all the villains and do all this and like make every character work and fill. The problem is just when you're trying to tell superhuman stories, here's the thing about superhero movies and stuff like that. Like, a lot of people like this is the thing what happens in Star Wars that I don't like is like when they try to humanize the stormtroopers and then like in the next few scenes they're just gunning them down like they're just the nameless troops that they've always been. This happened like in the Mandalorian, like when they went to the stormtrooper base and like everyone was clapping for them and congratulating them and like, oh man, you guys are the best. Oh man, stormtroopers really aren't that bad, and it's like they're an organized military and they're looking out for each other. And now we're gonna fucking gun them down like motherfuckers. Fuck them. It's
Right.
just
Yeah.
it
That's
doesn't
like,
it the
yeah.
pacing's all it
That's
sets
like,
the pacing, like the moral pacing of the movie is all fucking over the place, and it sucks.
I just think they have like a fundamental like misunderstanding of like the characters that they're using.
exactly.
like 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 a lot of like things like, it's like each character they stand for like a certain message, you know what I mean? So like when you're not hitting those messages, you're no longer using the correct character.
Well, on like to double down on that and expand on it a little bit, right? Like when you look at what Marvel does, like Marvel understands the core of their character when they're making their right, but they don't necessarily like limit it to that. Like the core of Captain America,
Right.
the core of Iron Man is there, but then they just alter them enough to make them interesting, like make them more interesting for film. Because Captain America in the comic books, it wouldn't translate perfectly to film, and the way that they do it and the way that Chris Evans performs it makes it interesting, makes you care about that character. And that's why like you can read
Right.
Marvel comics now, and when you read Iron Man, it's Robert Downey Jr. because like
Yeah.
they got the core of the
Right,
character.
yeah.
He's still consistently the same character from the 80s, but his personality is better. He's way more fascinating. He's way more interesting as a character.
Right. And I think it's just like I said, it's a fundamental understanding of the characters, and the professionalism of like the MCU and their production team, their recruiting team, the talent that they sit there and try to pull from, like meaning the actors. You can tell they sit there and they take their time,
And they were also
whereas
willing to
like
take chances. That's the most important thing too. A lot of people thought the
yeah,
MCU wasn't going to work at first, specifically with the first Thor movie. I know, like everyone thought the casting was all fucked up, and everyone thought the director wasn't going to make it. And then the first Thor movie, it wasn't like the best out of all the original MCU movies. It was actually probably one of the more low key ones, aside from the scenes of the Destroyer, because that guy's badass. But like with the other stuff, it worked. They took a chance and it worked, and it paid off for them in a major way. And
right,
that's the thing. Like WB, it doesn't seem like they want to take chances. They want to make Oscar bait, and they want to do things that'll
Yeah.
please the Academy and the Writers Guild and all those other stupid other
right.
people. And
Like
yeah,
yeah, like don't get me wrong, like the people that like the MCU are using are very like well-known actors and stuff like that, but
but
I
when they
feel
when they
we're like,
first started, weren't though. That's the ticket.
yeah, yeah, a lot of them weren't, but there are some, Chris Evans did some stuff, but like he wasn't super super well known. But like Robert Downey Jr., of course, everybody knew the fuck that was.
Yeah.
But
Like
his career was kind of dead at that point, right?
Yeah, like he had only done
Chris,
a really artsy.
yeah,
He had only done a really artsy movie about like the piano, and he had recovered from drugs. Like that's the thing. Like Robert Downey
yeah,
Jr. I know the reason he did Iron Man so well is because I think he imbued a lot of his struggles with personal struggles with alcoholism into the
exactly,
character, and it really worked.
yeah, yeah, exactly. And see that like that's the point where it's like they knew they had a vision, like and they knew how to execute it. Whereas like DC, it seemed like they just took like who are like some of the hottest actors and like let's just like copy them and paste them right here without like seeing if like
See, I would push back
what
a
like what
little. I would push back a little on the actors because Henry Cavill, that guy, like you've seen him
Mm.
without a shirt on. Okay, he is Superman. Like that, he's got the chin, like the chin. His chin makes a perfect square. Like if you held up like a right angle, like one of those things they use at like a math tables. I don't know. I don't like math. You know, it would be a perfect square. I'm telling you. Okay, and it's just he had the curls on the top of his head and everything, and it just didn't because they dropped the ball. And like Gal Gadot, she's Wonder Woman. Like she looks like Wonder Woman when she has a costume on, and it's amazing. And because the
well, I
DC
mean
movie,
two out of like how many characters though that they
yeah, and
have
then
introduced?
Aquaman, they got Jason Momoa, and they got Aquaman, like the one DC movie everybody kind of liked.
Yeah. I
And
mean,
then
don't get me wrong, like I do like him as Aquaman, but like
and then we had Ezra Miller, who decided to get into a fist fight with everybody on the island of Hawaii.
like I
So
still don't even know who the actor for Cyborg is. I'm like, who the fuck is this
Ray
guy?
Fisher, yeah.
Ray Fisher, yeah.
Yeah, no, like
Who were they gonna get to do Cyborg though? Like Shaquille O'Neal?
It's like
Here's the thing.
like I don't know, dude, but like I mean, there's actors out there they could find them, but they're like, I just think their recruitment team they're lazy.
well, it's so I got two things. First of all, for anybody who's saying something like, "Well, Marvel it isn't always good too," or whatever, like that's true. But Marvel is the gold standard right now for
Superhero movies,
making a
and stuff.
cohesive superhero universe, right? And
Mhm.
and so like like they're successful, so of course you're gonna compare it to them, right? Secondly, back to your original question about this obsession with dark and gritty, I think that
Mhm.
I think that there are people who are genuinely interested in like a more grounded version of these characters. But first of all, we had that called the Dark Knight trilogy.
Yeah.
Second,
I loved it.
right?
Yep.
Second,
Christian Bale, man, guy, now that's a fucking actor right there. I'm
Yeah.
just saying, dude, that guy is amazing.
second, if you want to do right, if DC and Zack Snyder came around later, like, and he wanted to do this Injustice / Bizarro World version of these characters, you can do that, but you have to establish your universe first, right? Like Marvel in Doctor Strange, right? We have all this crazy shit happening. We have evil versions of different characters. We have all like alternate realities and all this stuff. How long has Marvel movies been happening? 14 years. Like they had to establish all these things before they could expand our knowledge, right? All like that's the beauty of the MCU. We've subtly expanded our knowledge so much from all these MCU movies that now we can do crazy shit, right? You couldn't have done Guardians of the Galaxy right after the first Iron Man. We're not there yet.
Yeah, it's it's building worlds,
Right.
It's like for instance, it's just like here's a comparison. It's like the MCU is like 100-issue run, whereas like the DCU is like they try to fit like a 3-book series in like a one movie.
Right. The DC what the
It's
DCU
just
is
like,
trying to do is like they're like, "Oh,
it's like confusing.
we're going to have we're going to have Jason Todd take up the mantle of Robin. Oh, now he's a Red Hood." It's like
Yeah.
you didn't
Wait,
even
what?
establish Dick
Skip a lot of
Grayson.
things. Yeah, I skip a lot of things in the
Yeah.
middle there.
It's just like there was no build up. There was no like, whereas like the MCU, they obviously they slowly built. They put little Easter eggs here and there, and then they started like giving us the post credit scenes that are like showing us,
And,
hey, this is the direction that we're going in. It's time to get excited.
yeah, exactly.
And then
Like
you start noticing all the little Easter eggs and give you like additional enjoyment. Whereas like, see, it's like
like
it's future planning. Whereas the
you're, and what
DCU doesn't do that.
and you're right, and that's like one thing that I think that the MCU did really well. We saw Thanos, and like the first time we got introduced to Thanos, aside from like I think he got into an argument with Ro, whatever the fuck his name is.
Ronan?
Ronan, yeah. And then he got, but there was that little cameo appearance where he grabbed the Infinity Gauntlet and he was like, okay, fine, I'll do it myself. And people went fucking wild. And that was the last time we saw Thanos right up until fucking Infinity War, which is a really good way of setting up a villain.
A 2-year wait.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And it was great. It was totally worth it because we knew they had star power, they had Josh Brolin, and he looked great. And that's the Infinity Gauntlet. Like, it's just slap. Sometimes you got to slap him in the face with the story, and it worked really, really, really well. And like, man, that wasn't even that hard of a thing to do, and they did it anyway. And DC can't like introduce a villain like that. Like, they can't like.
Nope.
The thing with DC is it's not even that. Like, you can say like, oh, like, here's Superman, and now he's made his appearance known to the world, so like now all these other superheroes are like coming out, so like they made that make fine sense. The problem is these characters are fundamentally not the characters that people are familiar with. Like Superman, like to his core, like he would have never let his dad sacrifice himself like to a fucking tornado. Like, let's be honest, like and even that, like the idea that Jonathan Kent would tell his son, "Don't use your powers," is absurd.
And again, that's the thing I link into Oscar bait. That scene where he's like puts up his hand just when the tornado was swallowing him and the fucking super dramatic music is playing. It's Oscar bait. That's all that was. And like, I think.
And again, who loses? We do.
Especially like when you have like fans.
I want to win.
Of Superman. So sad. So sad.
Yeah. And again,
I'll just keep rewatching 10 seasons of Smallville and just be happy.
Like, I don't need Smallville. I probably should at some point.
Well, I'll tell you this much: rewatching it, there's like a lot of shit. Like, the effects are like pretty bad, but like for the time that it was made, they weren't bad. It's like rewatching it, there are some like super cringy things that happen. I'm just like, oh.
I'm sure the story is still better, like in broad strokes, than like watching like some of the mid seasons of Arrow. I loved Arrow, but some of those seasons,
like,
it was very clear you had like men who have been scorned by women their whole life writing that show.
Yeah, for real, dude.
Damien Dark wasn't very good either. He wasn't a very compelling villain.
But like,
even like assassin and also a master magician.
Even like BVS, like just like, I mean, CptHotSauce had one of the best takes. Like at the beginning of BVS, you see Bruce Wayne driving a Jeep. He's like, "All right, this movie's already unrealistic."
For real, dude. In what universe is he not fucking in a Bugatti? You know what I mean? Like, come on now, dude. A fucking McLaren. He'll fucking drive an F1 fucking car before he drives one of those fucking things. Like, let's be fucking real.
But then, like, you have him, like, his whole beef with Superman is like, oh, motherfucking Superman let all these innocent people die, and then he just goes on a rampage and starts murdering people. Like, motherfucker, you can't be, like, hard sale against Superman letting people die and then like go out and intentionally kill people. Like, it just internally doesn't make sense. But
nothing about those films internally makes sense. It's not even like Ben Affleck, because I think like Ben Affleck's a fine actor and everything, but like, a lot of them, the actors, like they fall victim to the production, like the writers and their vision. It's not even necessarily like, a lot of people are like, oh, Ben Affleck, you ruined Batman. No, he did
looked
not.
Great though. He looked phenomenal.
I mean, hey.
Ben Affleck just looks good in suits.
When you work in Hollywood, dude, you can transform your body into anything, dude. That's what I'm like.
Yeah, when you have access.
That's why I like, to a certain level, I kind of did have a problem with what you said about Henry Cavill. Like, dude, like look at what fucking Christian Bale like consistently does to his body, like for films and stuff.
Even Chris Pratt.
Like one minute he'll look like a fucking superhero, next minute he'll look like a fucking junkie, dude. Like, and it's all for like film and stuff. They have like these plans and the styles of eating, working out, and lifestyles that they do, and
the best trainers, the best chefs.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just like, meh.
Well, you can't deny Henry Cavill does look fucking good.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. I mean, he fills out the suit like well, but hey, that's CGI mustache though.
Oh God. Oh God. Oh,
You couldn't even bring yourself to shave, you fucking asshole.
he was filming Mission Impossible. Okay.
Oh, they
Yeah.
couldn't have used a fake one. The fuck? See,
Motherfuckers,
and there lies an
motherfuckers
issue
got
right there. It's like, how are you guys gonna sit there and fucking like use actors and shit that already fucking their focus is already pulled from this project?
motherfuckers got
Like,
Tom
there lies a
Cruise.
problem right there.
They got Tom Cruise climbing the tallest building in the world with no harness, but they can't use a fake mustache.
Alright, dude. I'm just like, alright, dude. Fucking awesome. Fucking all these
60-year-old
guns
Tom
and
Cruise.
fucking like CGI like explosions. Yep, those fit in the budget. Fake mustache? Nope.
that was in
That's gonna be a hard. I can't do it. You're
in
just
his
gonna have to grow
contract.
your
You
own
have
there,
to grow a
buddy.
real mustache.
Yeah. Very important clause.
It's like when you
dude.
interviewed at the harbor and you said, "Do you guys supply the floaties, or do I have to bring my own?" They're like, "You have to bring your own."
Oh no.
Not in the budget.
That sounds like something Jamal would say. Or was that other guy? Fucking
Dude,
guy was useless too.
literally anything you need at the harbor, you need safety harnesses. You gotta bring it yourself. They're gonna put you on a pallet that's been falling apart for 20 years.
Yep.
All right. So Mr. Chair here still hasn't seen Thor, but I told him I think I told him what you.
Oh.
I'm going to very soon.
Mm.
Thinking about seeing it tonight actually after we finished all this, but I don't think I'm gonna do that. I'm kind of low on energy. I've been low on energy ever since I fucking got over COVID. It sucks.
Oh, dude, COVID's the worst, man. I had that
Yeah.
a couple weeks ago. I thought I was gonna die. I was like, well, this is
Yeah,
how it all ends,
those
boys.
first few days were fucking awful. I will not.
Dude, I was like in and out of like because I have kids and whatnot, and like so I had to go to the store myself to go get like a test and stuff, like
Yeah.
because the whole they were like trying to quarantine in the room and shit and all that whatever. And so like I'm going to all these different stores, can't find any at home tests, and like every time I get like to like a new store, I have to sit there and like rest for like 10 minutes, dude. That's how fucking exhausted I was, dude. It like literally wipes you out completely.
Yeah. Those first few days were really rough. I can't
Dude,
even go.
and then like I had to like quarantine like in our spare bedroom. And so I bought a blow up mattress, and I'm like sitting there fucking blowing up the mattress, right? Like waiting for it to, or no, actually I unpackaged it, I rolled it out, I fucking fell asleep on the floor, dude.
There you go.
I
Nice.
didn't, I was like, I wake up like 3 hours later, like in a complete, just like full on sweat, dude. Like I'm just like, what is happening, dude? I'm dying.
Chair doesn't have kids, but
Uh,
he has a German Shepherd.
Yeah, so it's basically the
uh,
same thing. Except my kid can decide to maul me at any chance she wants, but whatever.
But I mean,
uh,
German Shepherds need a lot of like walks and runs and stuff.
Yeah, well,
uh,
I used to walk her 7 miles pretty much every day, and I'm not doing that right now. Now I'm down to 3 miles, which really fucking sucks because I know I can go a lot more than that, but I just get short of breath. Like
After
when I
like
get
the first mile, she's just dragging you.
yeah.
pretty much, drag me and take her to the park. I just drive her in my fucking car. I don't care if my car gets the interior gets all fucked up with hair and shit. I just hope for the best. All right.
Yeah, I don't think there's
There's this is a little quick side note. There's like this like little car cleaning tool from Amazon. It works hella good for like dog hair and stuff. In case you're interested, I'm sure if you just put like
I have a whole kit and caboodle and everything like that, and I got all the
oh
special
yeah,
rubs down and everything. I got the
yeah.
brushes and the brush and the removers.
For
German
sure, for
Shepherd,
sure.
she's got two cuts. She got two coats,
Yeah,
so she does double
yep.
shedding.
Oof. Yep.
Yep.
Oh lord.
oh lord.
Yep.
I don't
Yep.
think there's anything more to say about this stuff. But if you guys have anything,
I don't know. Is there any other like news? I don't know.
it's news has been super slow, and I think part of that is because Comic-Con is in 2 weeks,
Yep.
and then
Big
D23.
announcements.
is in
Honestly,
August.
dude, I'm so happy for that though, dude. I'm so like in a way, I'm very. I mean, don't get me wrong. I hella miss like Nerdy Boys reviews, like podcasts and like podcasting and stuff because it was a great escape and everything. But I don't have a ton of time. I work like 14, 16-hour days every day. So, like, I don't really have a ton of time for all that stuff. But like, I would like to start doing some stuff again. But it's very nice being disconnected like from all that stuff. Like I somehow managed to not see one trailer of the Thor movie before I went and watched it with you.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I felt like, just not being really connected to all that. I wasn't like hyper analyzing every little fucking detail and shit. And I'm just like, this movie was amazing.
I think Chair managed to.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
I actually a few days ago deleted my Reddit account and uninstalled it 'cause it's just Reddit's turning into a real big shit show right now.
Oh Lord.
So that's what I decided to do. So I've been completely pretty much cut off from nerd culture, as it were. All I've got now is Instagram, and all I'm doing on Instagram is following a bunch of art accounts and like heavy metal bands and stuff like that. So I rarely, if ever,
Yeah.
get spoilers on my feed or anything.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah,
That's what I kind of like about social media now. Like if it like it very like it like looks at like what you search and like what you like tweet or post about and stuff, and like it curates like a lot of posts and stuff for you to look at and whatnot. So for me, I don't see any nerd stuff really.
Yeah, I see fart. But like you said, I know you're like busy and stuff. Always have a place here if you station.
Yes, yes, yes. Hell yeah.
I'm sure Chair wants
yeah. Actually, I want to go rip
Yes.
bong.
Oh.
But like to say eat because I don't think I'm allowed to talk about smoking weed on Twitch because Twitch fucking sucks.
I've seen people smoke weed.
Nice.
Oh wow, really? Damn.
Oh man.
I was gonna start streaming games on Pornhub just so I could smoke
Also,
weed
I'm
on
not a
stream.
partner or affiliate, so what are they gonna
Yeah.
do?
Fucking, I
All
don't know.
right. Oh man, you banned this account.
Something.
Fucking
Yeah.
then go make another one.
Game over, man.
Oh
Our
no, I'll
millions of
take my
viewers.
5 followers to a new account. Thank you. Like,
Dude.
Fuck it. I'll just give you my account that's affiliated and
oh jeez,
get some more viewage.
pop off.
There you go. Pop
Captain
off,
Hot.
son. Oh shit. I should start streaming again, man. That was a good time.
I mean, like it's hard when you have like no time, but
Yeah.
even like
I've been
us,
getting back into video games though.
like I'm still not really bad at them. Like things that are like super obvious to people who play games frequently. Like, dude, I get stuck on like levels of Jedi Fallen Order because like I don't know where to fucking go.
A lot of people get stuck on Jedi Fallen Order because the map is very unintuitive. So.
Person's
think
that
about
guy that like used to play like Overwatch that would be like pointing at the sky trying to shoot people
Dude,
with Tracer.
I played one game of Overwatch, like quick play, like on my PC, and like, dude, I don't know, I'm still just so bad. Like even on PC, I was like, man,
You gotta
like,
build that hand-eye coordination, pal.
yeah,
That's the thing about video games is you just gotta play them for a while. I
Yeah.
told you, I'm the top 100 in MechWarrior right now. That's because I played like 600 games. Just how it works.
yeah.
So because I just love
downloaded the game and created an account, top 10
Top.
million or something.
Something up there, yeah.
What game is that?
MechWarrior Online.
I don't know what it. I downloaded it and made an account.
Just roll around in giant robots shooting the shit out of each other. It's great. That's why I play it so much. It's like a first-person shooter, but it's also a vehicle combat game, like meshed into one.
Oh, nice. Sounds good.
Like 23 gigs.
I just play FIFA and Call of Duty now. That's it. I usually don't play much because usually halfway through my son comes and unplugs my controller.
Is your HDMI cord better now?
Yes, appreciated.
Well, like,
Yes.
you said your old one was what? Just like it would just like fall out, or like it was like flipping.
Dude, I
something?
don't even know, dude. Dude, it just like would like start like not registering that there was an HDMI cord, so like the screen would go blank and then it would pop back up, and then I'd start like moving on the game and stuff, and it'd go back out and shit, and I was like, oh wow, this is so stupid. But yeah, don't got that problem now. Yep.
Wicked.
Mm-mm.
You have work today?
No, today and tomorrow. Yeah. Yes, sir.
Well, I think it's time to service.
Sweet.
Yep.
But yeah, thanks to everybody who's watching or listening to the podcast version. If you guys are interested in CptHotSauce content, he doesn't create it anymore, but you can follow his Twitch anyway.
Hey,
Should
there you go.
have.
Yeah. You can also follow I Fell Off My Chair. That's Chair. He has also Twitch that he doesn't use.
I'm gonna stream at some point. People tell me I'm really fucking funny, so I guess maybe I'll do that to make people give me some money, and maybe I'll get some e-girls to send me new pictures of their pussies. I don't know.
Oh Jesus! Oh God.
Oh.
All right.
All right.
E-girls, call me. Maybe. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Perfect. Yeah, and you can whatever. Please follow if you're new and want to watch future. Goodbye.
Take me off the internet.